Pelosi Gate. So Nancy Pelosi
Salongate. Oh
was,
man, the
yeah,
Democrats
my bad.
just
So
now you
Salon
can't
Gate.
now you
He
can't even
named it
trust the
Salon Gate. I
Democrats
don't know
with
why I
that.
named it Pelosi Gate, but Salon Gate. The Hodge twins, the conservative twins, call her Blowout Nancy. She was caught getting her hair did and a blowout at a San Francisco hair salon while basically having everybody else on lockdown and having these businesses shut down. But apparently she got special treatment and was able to walk around with no mask and not socially distancing. By the way, she's 80 years old, right?
So
Like
she's high. So she's high. She's high risk, but
high risk. Like she get that shit, she
she's
might
not
kill
even
over.
like 55, 65, 70. She is
Nah,
80 years old.
80 years old. So go ahead with your thoughts on that.
Rules for thee, but not for me. Yeah, I mean, this truly is just hypocritical beyond belief. And again, you think to yourself, oh, it's just Pelosi getting her hair done. It's all the details surrounding it and the circumstances that we're in today currently that really make this thing just so massive and significant in terms of the political theater right now. So this virus comes from China, right? So it gets here, it spreads. They never go into any details about how. Okay, planes, boats, okay, but specifically how? Why isn't there this big investigation on China? Why China let out in the first place? Like, what happened? Oh no, it's all just Trump. The buck stops with Trump. Even though this came from across the planet, across the globe, from the Eastern Hemisphere, it's all Trump. So they say that, and then they're saying, oh, because this thing is so bad, which, by the way, you've had it, and you know this thing is mild for most. They justify shutting down a roaring economy. Again, Trump was hard pressed to do it because he had to balance out the economy and people's well-being, and then the people at high risk of dying from COVID and whatnot. Again, it's not simple, but where they have the toughest restrictions is in these Democrat-run cities and states, and they use this virus as a proxy, as justification for shutting down all these businesses and making it next to impossible for people to really conduct much interaction whatsoever. And if you do so, you're spreading the virus and you get shut down. Or in California, they cut the water off, they cut the power off, they do all this fascist like authoritarian bullshit. And to justify, like I said, they say that this thing is so terrible, especially for the elderly. And if you're over 80, it's pretty much a death sentence, essentially what they're saying, what they've, kind of the message that they've gotten across. And lo and behold, we see Nancy P, 80-year-old,
blowout
Nancy, going to a salon that was shut down. She gets special treatment because she's the Speaker of the House, obviously. And she walks in there, no mask, nothing, getting her hair dried because she got to look good for some MSNBC interview. So I applaud.
Bro, what man are you trying to get at 80 years old, girl? I mean, is her husband even alive? I mean, was she married? I don't know that much about her, but it's like, what man? I can see if she was like 25, 30, 40, maybe 50, 60 years old, but you 80, bro. That pussy done dried up.
Oh my God.
You get crumbs out of that. You get some crumbs out of that.
Chill.
What do you mean chill? I'm serious, bro. That's wrong, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was just trying to get her hair done. Right, exactly.
Nancy Pelosi trying to impress? Because her hair is. And then I noticed her hair is always looking good. She on point.
Yeah, but how does she look like that at 80? She looks like she's 60 tops.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I was like, bro. Nancy Pelosi probably was bad back in the day. I've looked up pictures of her younger. I was like, wow, Nancy Pelosi for an 80-year-old woman, like, hey. Man.
I see what you're saying, but back to the matter at hand.
I'm just saying, dude.
I see what you're saying. It just is like, it's kind of the biggest what the fuck moment, because it's like you've crushed these small businesses using this virus as justification. You are 80 years old without a mask on in a business. You're basically showing you're the quintessential example of someone who could die from this, and you go about it nonchalantly like it's, just any other regular Tuesday. Whatever day it was, I just use Tuesday for the, it's for conversation, it's a common like reference for just saying like any run of the mill, day. Like basically what I'm trying to say is like you go about it like it's just any other, just regular day or situation or, instance where you just got to get your hair done. But in reality, what's actually going on? That salon was shut down because of COVID lockdowns. You are 80 years old, so you're at high risk. You're not wearing a mask. That you have drilled down our throats. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. That wear that fucking condom from my mouth, because that's just like some because that's just like some magical piece of cloth that's just gonna fix everything. No, just and any type of hope for any medicine or any cure or any treatment for it. No, it's just snake oil. Trump's just trying to kill people because he's trying to push the snake oil. Just wait for the vaccine and wear a mask. All this bullshit. And oh no, you can't open because it's so dangerous. It's so bad. Oh, you have to suffer, financially. And then you just waltz. Yeah, like that's a good word. You just waltz in there, basically slapping America in the face. And I think what we're seeing now is the blatant hypocrisy from the left.
You try to play the victim card too.
Exactly, and I'll get into that. At this point, COVID should be a non-issue. Respected physicians are saying a risk of a second wave isn't really likely. More people might get infected maybe in the fall and in the winter.
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth wave right now, bro.
Fifth, sixth wave. It's been 180,000 deaths, which, by the way, 94% of them aren't even just solely from COVID. They're from comorbidities. So really only 11,000 people have died straight from corona in a country of almost 350 million people. Excuse me, and you use that to justify just destroying the economy and just wiping out the middle class. But no, you had to get your hair done, so let me go in the salon and just go about it, just like it's nothing. And when they released the footage of all this of me basically going against my own orders, my own laws, that my own restrictions that I imposed on you, say it was a setup. Yeah, the Speaker of the House, got set up by a salon owner in California. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's how it works.
No, she set up that appointment. That's the only setup that it was.
Appointment, yeah.
She set up that appointment.
Yeah, like Trump go get his haircut. Oh, like, this person is setting up the president of the United States. No, come on now. So, again, they're imposing these things on us and they don't respect them themselves. So what does that tell us? These people are literally enforcing ill-advised and illegitimate like martial law, basically, or imposing on us with these authoritarian fascistic measures that they're not following themselves. So it's like, what am I supposed to expect? You think I'm just gonna you think that I'm supposed to just sit here and keep taking this suffering while I see that you clearly are going about your day regularly, normally with all this, and your life hasn't been affected when my life has been completely turned upside down? I'm surprised salon owners haven't started their own riots. I think I heard something from a friend of mine who said that, she said that, they're doing some emotionally charged, some pretty angry, protests over in California, I think. I heard something about it, but obviously the media won't cover that. But no, man, small business owners should be irate. They should be livid because we now see that our government is just imposing authoritarianism on us. We see the evil of our government, the hypocrisy of it, because they're imposing these things that are destroying us in multiple ways too, not just financially, emotionally, sociologically, even physically. Loneliness and all this stuff can have physical ramifications. There have been some studies that say that loneliness is almost as bad as drug addiction. You're making all these kids who need to be interact with and be around like other kids, in school and whatnot, more than anything, because that socialization from a very young age is very important, because that's when they're most impressionable. Interacting with others is most important for children, because that's how they become normal human beings when they get older. They learn how to interact from a very young age. And these children, I've heard from personal accounts, they're having panic attacks, they're, under severe distress, they're, like crying and just having, these emotional breakdowns. This is what's happening in the country. And you're using this thing that you, of all people, an 80-year-old, should be terrified of, quote unquote, and you go into this business that you shut down on top of all this to get something done, just completely oblivious to all the measures that you put in place to affect the lives of normal people, but not yourself. So what does this mean for the Democrats? I think really that should have been the nail in the coffin for the Democrats, because now we see blatantly that all these measures are just to screw over the normal American, middle America. They've imposed these lockdowns that have a lot of these businesses aren't coming back. And on top of that, they allegedly are funding the destruction of them through these Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. And, on top of all that, you're still just going about your day in a business that you had shut down.
You're not even doing it in a smart way. All you had to do is just have the salon owner come to your place. That's all you had to do. Like, that's literally all you had to do.
The salon owner came out and said, Nancy Pelosi tried to say, oh, it was a setup, that's laughable. But she said, Nancy Pelosi tried to say that, it's just, one at a time clients, so it's okay. And the salon owner on Tucker Carlson was like, because she was on Tuck's show, and she was like, well, I have clients one-on-one anyways. So by that description, by that definition, I should be open. If you're saying that the reason why you were in there without any mask or anything on was because it was you were the only one there, you were the only client, and it was one at a time, the salon owner was like, I pretty much mostly do that anyway, so why am I still shut down? So they get caught in the act, and they play the blame game. Oh, I was set up. Oh, it was just, I was the only one in there, it was just like one at a time. They try to come up with these, trying to like they're falling, the plane is falling to the ground as fast as possible. Or better example, they fall off a cliff and they're falling right, terminal velocity right into the concrete, right into the pavement, right into the ground, from falling from high up, from, just off a cliff. And they're trying to grab onto whatever branch they can grab onto to explain to the people this bullshit, so that the people don't just raise all hell and come after the Democrats and basically, push for the Democrats to be thrown in jail or something, or worse, because I'm pretty sure that's what's going through most people's heads, especially small business owners who have had their lives destroyed by all these measures, when they see the major proponent of all this, the Speaker of the House, the most powerful lady, the most powerful person in the Democratic Party right now, arguably, go against her own restrictions, when she herself, by definition, is high risk. So, yeah, man, I think that just shows the blatant corruption, how deeply corrupted the Democratic Party is, and how evil it is, how messed up these lockdowns are, because we're starting to see that these lockdowns really are just to make the people suffer. Doesn't that just make you?
I don't necessarily agree that it's there to make the the people suffer. I think that
saying that's what people could infer from
they
this,
could
because it's like
infer, but it's not just
if
about
you
making
if
people
you if
suffer.
you are not showing if you are not showing fear of the virus, when you're by definition you are at high risk. Like, why did you do all this to me? But I want to let you give your interjection on that.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily believe that it is trying to make people suffer just to make them suffer. I think it is an overreach in government power and authority. And I think that essentially we see all these other countries where their citizenship has basically allowed the government to overreach. Really, the US is the only country that has not allowed the government to overreach to that level. And I think again, that's why.
Well, we see that a lot, like in New Zealand, Australia, like even in Europe, especially, right?
Yeah, I mean they keep shutting down, opening up, shutting down, opening up, shutting down. It's like New Zealand brags like, we've got the virus to basically zero, and then next week,
Four cases, and then bam.
and then next week, bam, y'all got to shut right back down, right? And it's like, okay, like if I'm a business owner, which I am, it's like, okay, I can't operate my business. You know, that's the thing about when you own a business, certainty, right? Like that's one of the biggest things, like certainty. Like
Certainty is a rare commodity when you
exactly
when you're
taking calculated risk. And the thing is, while our economy has been so stable, while our country has been so stable, it's because you can take calculated risk because of certainty from the government.
political stability.
Political stability, exactly, right? So when that is being challenged, where the government can one day have everything open and then the next day, literally overnight, shut everything down, that takes away that stability and that certainty that businesses operate with, right? And I think, again, one guy that I was watching, the Duran Williams show, and I love mentioning him because, he's another YouTuber who happens to be black, who I agree with a lot of the things that he say, right? And one thing he was saying was that the government has allowed you to shut down small businesses. Your shop has to shut down because of safety, but Walmart can stay open when you got 200, 300, 400 people in a Walmart at a time, and y'all talking about social distancing in Walmart. So these big corporations can stay open, and they can get their coin and make all this money and suck up all this money because it's not going to small businesses, which, I mean, they already screwed the small business over anyway. Now you've really just screwed over the small business because look what happened. You forced the small business to shut down, and now all the big corporations can stay open because they got to make their coin. Right? And the thing is that masks have become, and this corona thing has become a religion. There are people that really, when you get the virus, people think you're irresponsible. If you don't wear a mask, if you get the virus, you're some type of like heathen, or you're not a good person if you don't,
or you're like trying to kill grandma or something.
Yeah, you're trying to kill grandma, and it's like, dude, like,
like no, nah, like that's not. It's just, you got to understand that on any given year, there's a risk of them being infected with a really bad flu. That's basically even worse than this.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And having personal experience with the virus, again, it ain't got nothing on the flu. I can, at least for me personally, I can't speak for everybody else, but it ain't got nothing on the flu.
Yeah.
Flu, I couldn't even walk, bro. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed. And I only had the flu once that I know of. Or I think that was the flu. I hope whatever I had was the flu. I'm assuming it was the flu.
Well, that you can remember because it was pretty.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was literally full for like 3 days. I could not go to class. I literally had to email my professor like, "Yo, I literally can't physically go to class." That's how bad the flu was.
Yeah,
corona. I finished sprint. I had weightlifting. I finished sprinting the same day. I was exercising, doing what I had to do while having corona. And then on top of that, which I think is weird, is that I had interacted with multiple people in a close vicinity, and none of them got it during the time in which it's supposed to be the most susceptible to be spread. It's supposed to be the most contagious. None of them got it.
Well, that either supports one of two things. One, that, I don't know, maybe it's not as contagious, or two, maybe they already had it, they were asymptomatic, and they got antibodies.
Yeah.
Herd immunity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I lean towards them already having it. Because I mean, again, it's supposed to be so contagious. I literally was shocked when one of my friends, who I had spent the whole weekend with, the weekend that I got the virus, I spent the whole weekend with this man in the car for a long amount of time, not wearing a mask, sharing, certain things, and he didn't get it. Negative. Again, it blew my mind. But a
Which
whole bunch of
means,
other people that I was around had got it, but some people didn't. And it's like, bro, my brother was giving me a haircut like 3 or 4 days after I got the virus. This dude's giving me a haircut. When you get a haircut, you're standing around somebody for like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour,
of course.
Breathing the same thing. Like he's all in my face, his hands on my face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, of course.
My nephew, we working out together, sweating, sharing sweat. I have to show him how to do certain exercises. Like, negative. Didn't get it.
Again, which means I already have it. And you have to remember, they try to use this fancy term like asymptomatic. What you have to realize is asymptomatic basically means that they had it and it was so mild that it really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It basically was a non-issue, because asymptomatic just means that you have it, but it barely did anything to you. So your immune system was strong enough to fend it off. So, the interesting question around this is, what does this really do for the virus narrative when people see an 80-year-old woman basically showing complete disregard for this so terrible virus that they've been talking about now for months? I mean, what do you think that? How do you think people are going to react to this? First of all, people are going to be mad because their businesses are still shut down, certain ones in certain states. And second is, well, if Nancy Pelosi, who's 80 years old, is walking around, willy-nilly without a mask on, and she's hella old and she's supposedly high risk, what does that mean for how people are going to, how seriously people are going to take this quote-unquote terrible virus moving forward?